there! My name's Laura McHugh and I am 17 years old and I am a oboe performance major with a minor in legal studies at UMass Lowell. When I was 3 years old, my mom sent me across the street to learn how to play guitar, so that is where I learned to read music. And then in kindergarten, I played clarinet on the side, but when it finally came time to choose an instrument in 4th grade, I chose the oboe. The reason I chose the oboe was because when they were presenting the instruments, the lady who presented the oboe played the Snake Charmer tune, and as a 7-year-old, I thought that in order to play the Snake Charmer tune correctly, you needed to play it on an oboe. So I bought an oboe. And we're going to learn some cool facts about the oboe, we're going to learn the history of the oboe, and it's going to be a good time. Let's go. Did you know that the oboe is actually part of a bigger family? So the oboe is the soprano voice, and there's a thing called a piccolo oboe, which is basically just a smaller oboe, and that's the sopranino voice. There's also the English horn, which is a longer one, and that's the alto voice, and then there's the bass oboe, which is obviously the bass voice. There is also related double reed instruments like the bassoon and the contrabassoon. One of the first instances of oboe-like instruments dates as far back as 3000 BC, where they were seen represented in Egyptian paintings. Another explanation is that the oboe was introduced to the Western world via the Silk Road. They likely used an instrument called a shawm, which is a direct ancestor of the oboe that was used for dancing rituals. In the 1700s, oboe-like instruments were used by Bach and Telemann. They fell out of general practice until the 1900s, when Strauss and Debussy brought them back. Oddly enough, these instruments used by Debussy and Strauss were tuned in the key of A instead of the key of C. Let's see how the oboe really works. This instrument is concert pitch, which means it's in the key of C, which means that when I play a C on the oboe, it's the same as a C on the piano. Not all instruments are like this. For example, the alto saxophone and the baritone saxophone are in the key of E flat. So when I play what the fingering is for C on the alto, it's the same as E flat on the piano. In the 1600s, the indoor version of the shawm was invented. They narrowed the bell, narrowed the mouthpiece, added a few extra keys, and gave it 3 joints so it could be taken apart easily. They referred to it as a hautbois, which is a French word for the oboe. Nowadays, oboes are used as a tonal instrument because of their unique timbre. Listen closely. If if you pay attention to your favorite movies, you'll notice that the soundtrack is usually played by a symphony orchestra, and you're sure to hear some oboe sounds. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I'm Laura McHugh, and I hope you learned something. Bye, Sean!
I can see a swath of sinners sitting yonder, and they're acting like a pack of fools. Gazing into space, they let their minds wander instead of studying the good Lord's rules. You better pay attention, build your comprehension. There's gonna be a quiz at your ascension, not to